The old advisors to water, to governors on water, my understanding of the history is they would say, Governor, this is water, it's really complex, and you can really step in it really quickly if you're not careful. So get into the Water Congress, talk about how water is the lifeblood of the state of Colorado, and then get the heck out of there before you do step in it. And when Governor Hickenlooper heard that counsel, he said, that's not good enough. And he used political capital just signing that executive order. Because there were people in the water community that said, you say the word state water plan, and that's toxic, that's a third rail, you can't touch that. And he said, I need the white paper on water. We all looked at each other and we said, we don't have one of those. And he said, you got to be kidding me. If you got a business with an input as critical as water is to the bottom line of that business, as water is to the bottom line of the state of Colorado, you would say that was unacceptable to the CEO and the board of directors. So go do it. I want a draft by December 10th of 2014, and I want a final by December 10th of 2015.
So this plan is the white paper?
I wouldn't say that. This plan is a plan with critical action steps in it, and they'll only get more robust and hopefully measurable when the final comes out. White papers are usually background documents, and I wouldn't call this a background document. This is a final product. The real progress, the real story here is about collaboration and consensus on a score that we have never seen in the water community before. And it's not glamorous to write about. It's not going to get a good headline because, frankly, it doesn't fit the old paradigm of people pulling out pistols and shooting each other. As the governor's fond of saying, there were a lot more barn raisings than in the Old West than shootouts at the high noon. So that's true in water. We're seeing people from the River District, from the Front Range water providers get together and talk about win-win solutions. And that doesn't fit the narrative that a lot of people like to write about. It goes back to this idea of agility, injecting agility into the system of water in Colorado. Agility in funding and financing these projects. They're not going to be free. In fact, we've done a back of the napkin analysis, and $20 billion worth of need is probably there between now and 2050. What we've seen is people are not willing to back big funding measures that they can't personally or regionally identify with the benefit from. It's tough for me to see without this plan really being acceptable and something that people realize is value added, and then taking the next step of probably, at least in the next iteration or the next several iterations, getting to where the state of Texas is with their plan, which is a list of all the projects in the state and a list of the funding sources by each of those projects. And then when they go to their voters, and they did that last election cycle, they raised $2.5 billion for water projects in Texas. California did the same thing with $7.5 billion. The metaphor I guess I should use is you gotta crawl before you can walk. We can't be the Texas State Water Plan or the California State Water Plan where they build water projects and do all these things at the state level right out of the gate. We just can't do it. And if we tried, it would crater the effort. And it wouldn't be true to the grassroots nature of the thing we're trying to build. I hate that metaphor in some ways because it says that we're crawling, and I think that diminishes the impact of actually what this is. It is a plan, just as California and Texas's first version of their plan was a plan, but it didn't look anything like the one they have now. This will only be as good as we make it. So if we don't use it and update it and make it better, as far and push the envelope of what we're allowed to do with this, then your assessment will be accurate. That it wasn't really a plan; it was just it wasn't something that was actionable. People couldn't quite bring themselves to support it. But the hope is that we get there with this. We get as far as we can with this, and then we move forward in the next draft or in the next final. In a direction that allows people to say, okay, I'm ready to have a conversation about the trade-offs of that project right there.